Deep in the shady sadness of a vale, far sunken from the healthy breath of morn, far from fiery noon and eve's one star, sat grey-haired Saturn, quiet as a stone, still as the silence round about his lair. Forest on forest hung about his head like cloud on cloud. No stir of air was there, not so much life as on a summer's day robs not one light seed from the feathered grass. But where the dead leaf fell, there did it rest. A stream went voiceless by, still deadened more by reason of his fallen divinity, spreading a shade. The naiad, mid her reeds, pressed her cold finger closer to her lips. Along the margin sand, large footmarks went, no further to where his feet had strayed and slept there since. Upon the sodden ground, his old right hand lay nerveless, listless, dead, unsceptered, and his realmless eyes were closed, while his bowed head seemed listening to the earth, his ancient mother, for some comfort yet. It seemed no force could wake him from his place, but there came one who with a kindred hand touched his wide shoulders after bending low with reverence, though to one who knew it not. She was a goddess of the infant world. By her in stature the tall Amazon had stood a pygmy's height. She would have taken Achilles by the hair and bent his neck, or with a finger stayed Ixion's wheel. Her face was large as that of Memphian Sphinx, pedestaled haply in a palace court when sages looked to Egypt for their law. But, oh, how unlike marble was that face, how beautiful, if sorrow had not made sorrow more beautiful than beauty's self. There was a listening fear in her regard, as if calamity had but begun, as if the vanward clouds of evil days had spent their malice, and the sullen rear was with its stored thunder labouring up. One hand she pressed upon that aching spot where beats the human heart, as if just there, though an immortal, she felt cruel pain. The other upon Saturn's bended neck she laid, and to the level of his ear, leaning with parted lips, some words she spake in solemn tenor and deep organ tone, some mourning words which in our feeble tongue would come in these like accents. Oh, how frail to that large utterance of the early gods. Saturn, look up. Though wherefore, poor old king? I have no comfort for thee, no, not one. I cannot say, O wherefore sleepest thou? For heaven is parted from thee, And the earth knows thee not, thus afflicted, for a god. And ocean, too, with all its solemn noise, has from thy sceptre passed, and all the air is emptied of thine hoary majesty. Thy thunder, conscious of the new command, rumbles reluctant over our fallen house, and thy sharp lightning in unpracticed hands scorches and burns our once serene domain. Oh, aching time, oh moments big as years, as all ye past swell out the monstrous truth and press it so upon our weary griefs that unbelief has not a space to breathe. Saturn, sleep on, O thoughtless. Why did I thus violate thy slumberous solitude? Why should I ope thy melancholy eyes? Saturn, sleep on, while at thy feet I weep. As when, upon a tranced summer night, those green-robed senators of mighty woods, tall oaks, branch-charmed by the earnest stars, dream, and so dream, all night without a stir, save from one gradual, solitary gust which comes upon the silence and dies off, as if the ebbing air had but one wave. So came these words and went, the while in tears she touched her fair large forehead to the ground, just where her falling hair might be outspread, a soft and silken mat for Saturn's feet. One moon, with alternation slow, had shed her silver seasons 4 upon the night, and still these two were postured motionless, like natural sculpture in cathedral cavern. The frozen god still couchant on the earth, and the sad goddess weeping at his feet. Until at length old Saturn lifted up his faded eyes and saw his kingdom gone, and all the gloom and sorrow of the place, and that fair kneeling goddess. And then he spake, as with a palsied tongue, and while his beard shook horrid with such aspen malady. O tender spouse of gold Hyperion, Thea, I feel the air, I see thy face. Look up, and let me see our doom in it. Look up, and tell me if this feeble shape is Saturn's. Tell me if thou hearest the voice of Saturn. Tell me if this wrinkling brow, naked and bare of its great diadem, peers like the front of Saturn. Who had power to make me desolate? Whence came the strength? How was it nurtured to such bursting forth, while fate seemed strangled in my nervous grasp? But it is so, and I am smothered up and buried from all godlike exercise of influence benign on planets pale, of admonitions to the winds and seas, of peaceful sway above man's harvesting, and all those acts which Deity Supreme doth ease its heart of love in. I am gone, away from mine own bosom. I have left my strong identity, my real self, somewhere between the throne and where I sit here on this spot of earth. Search, Thea, search. Open thine eyes, etern, and sphere them round upon all space. Space starred and lorn of light, space regioned with life air and barren void, spaces of fire and all the yawn of hell. Search, Thea, search, and tell me if thou seest a certain shape or shadow making way with wings, or chariot fierce to repossess a heaven he lost erewhile. It must be of right progress. Saturn must be king. Yes, there must be a golden victory. There must be gods thrown down and trumpets blown of triumph calm and hymns of festival upon the gold clouds metropolitan, voices of soft proclaim and silver stir of strings in hollow shells. And there shall be beautiful things made new for the surprise of the sky children. I will give command. Thea! 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 Where is Saturn? This passion lifted him up upon his feet and made his hands to struggle in the air, his druid locks to shake and ooze with sweat, his eyes to fever out, his voice to cease. He stood and heard not Thea's sobbing deep. A little time, and then again he snatched utterance, thus: But cannot I create? Cannot I form? Cannot I fashion forth another world, another universe, to overbear and crumble this to naught? Where is another chaos? Where? That word found way unto Olympus and made quake the rebel three. Thea was startled up, and in her bearing was a sort of hope, as thus she quick voice spake, yet full of awe. This cheers our fallen house. Come to our friends, O Saturn. Come away and give them heart. I know thee covert, for thence came I hither. Meanwhile, in other realms, big tears were shed. More sorrow like to this, and such like woe, too huge for mortal tongue or pen of scribe. The Titans, fierce, self-hid or prison-bound, groaned for the old allegiance once more, and listened in sharp pain for Saturn's voice. But one of the whole mammoth brood still kept his sovereignty and rule and majesty, blazing Hyperion.